Well, we talk about how, well, I'll ask again and you may think about other, because you already shared some things about that. How have you experienced and managed organizational changes? And if you can share a few examples.
Sure. I joined corporate in the United States November the 2000.
Okay.
Big, huge corporation. Even someone would call it the dream job in terms of the company.
Yeah.
So I got a couple of tasks right away. They threw into the pool. So the first one was, okay, this is the plan for the next 5 years. It's your job. You got 3 months. Tell us if it is right or wrong. Say, okay, you've been planning this for a while. Now you want me to tell this? Okay, I'll do the best I can in 3 months. If you remember, February 2001, telecom and technology crashed. Mm-hmm. And I was putting together the package. And I was the new kid in town working directly with the corporate. And then in March, they told me, okay, what you found? And of course I said, it's not gonna happen. Actually, we're gonna go quite the opposite. And during that process, I talked to everyone, internally and externally. And I was the guy who needed to bring the bad news, for call it. Say, no, we need to be ready because this is what is gonna happen. And at that time in time, my region was around $1 billion technology company. And I was put in front of the executives, and I was telling, no. And they started shooting at you, different kind of questions. Who are you? You got 3 months here. Say, hey, you pay my salary. I can be my job is to be corporate citizen. I need to show you what it is. What is the worst? And even, not just tell the bad news, but how we're going to make things differently so we can actually survive. Mm-hmm. And that's what we did for 8 years. Again, the market shrank, but we always knew how bad things were. The market was contracting. We were fighting people. We were changing and adapting. One of the things, I'm pretty sure it happened to you as well, being in Brazil, Brazil has a tremendous chemical components, but in the technology-wise, in the region, we don't develop nothing. What we do is professional services. The labs anywhere in the world provide you the hardware and the software. So we're pretty much importers, plus customization. So we start thinking, perfect, what's real, what is not, what we can control, and what we can actually benefit from the corporation, how we're going to align all the people within the company, and how we're going to tell the region, this is what is real over here. I cannot charge you professional services price like a United States. It can, Latin America doesn't allow it to, but this is how it needs to happen. Now, let's say, for example, a cellular network. Hardware, software, and professional services, whatever happens in the United States needs to happen as well in Latin America. Otherwise, the cellular network is not going to work. Now, the prices are completely different. Maybe the scale is completely different. The quality, so meaning we need to take the parts that are here in the United States, do engineering over the engineering, and actually deliver at the right price of everything with the local markets. And we needed to align everyone in the organization to do that. And you can imagine, one of the more important things about change is communicating. Believe it or not, I'm surprised because I didn't know it at the time, and I was educated in such a way. Communicating is normal every month, not every year. Because if you notice, most of the companies, even today, they do all these big announcements internally once a year. Mm-hmm. We were doing it monthly. So everyone knew the good and the bad. And the other thing is, everyone talks about how great is everyone. Okay, that's a given. The most important thing in survival times, on a crisis, everyone needs to be fully aware what's the role on a crisis mode and why it's important and why it matters. Because the sooner they understand that, they change the attitude. Because it's no longer, hey, I need to work 10 hours today. No, I need to work 10 hours because that helps me, helps my partner, helps my customer, and that will give us more time to, in the big picture, survive. And I think we're going right now through the same environment right now, or everywhere. Unfortunately, I think all of us are trying to be this political correct kind of thinking, which I understand it has to happen. But one thing is, when things going well, yes, of course. But in crisis mode, no, you cannot afford to do those kind of things. So communication is key on any kind of change management. And the sooner, the better, and even the bad news, and of course with the solution. This is the bad news, and this is how we're going to address it. Line up the troops, let's go for it.
That's so important, right? I mean, the transparency and the just-in-time communication. Because I've been in organizations that basically there are a lot of rumors, close to the coffee bar. You see what I'm saying? And then it just, people basically lose focus. Like they are so concerned about what may happen and they don't really know what is going on. That is very bad, right, for the engagement of people in organizations. So
I'll give you one more example, if I may. You're coming from Brazil. I was raised everywhere. But for example, you and I being in Latin America, we understand that printing currency is not a good thing. It got consequences. We see good examples happen in Latin America and in Europe right now. But here in the States, we're printing currency day and right. Our national debt is way beyond the GDP. And you can see the companies, the government, everyone is beautiful. We're living in a rainbow. We should be saying, no, it's time to be productive. It is time to take measurements, and we need to focus, and we need to move forward. That's what makes America great. But right now, we live in this culture of being politically correct. And going what you mentioned, right? Change management. We're in a crisis, and we're not accepting it, and we're not rallying everyone around it. And that's why we see all this kind of turmoil everywhere. And that's maybe an example for what you mentioned.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, and by the way, where are you from?
Born in California, raised in Colombia and Ecuador. For the last 20 years here in Miami, Florida. So that's what I meant, everywhere. And of course, like you traveling over the place.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I was raised in basically 3 different states, but in Brazil, and then I moved here. But I moved here just 11 years ago. So, yeah. So let me ask you this then. What are the most common challenges and pain points you face when you implement a change, and how would you overcome them?
First of all, it's people. Because again, coming from the technology side, everything is new. Everything is fancy. You got all these beautiful companies out of Wall Street talking marvelous things, how the war is going to change and how technology by itself is going to save the day. Technology is a tool. It's an enabler. People is the one who uses the technology. Then we need to make sure that they understand the differences, what it was before, what is going to be next, and helping to do the next thing. I got 2 kids. They are 21 and 17. And of course, I mean, talking 80s and 90s is completely alien for them.
Oh, yeah.
They're digital. And I'm telling you, no, you're not digital. You use a screen, but you don't understand what's behind it. And you don't even understand how to use it and how to be productive. And I was given this example. I was using a typewriter at one point in time in my life. And I would say, and even I attend classes to do that.
Yeah.
And now everyone uses a computer for either Excel or to do documents. But really, there's no difference if you think about it. It's a keyboard. Now you got a screen. But the same way that they build the files and they start lumping one on top of the other, there's no difference. We're using an electronic device, but we're doing exactly the same thing that happened in the past. We are now more productive. We just now create more content without even knowing what we're creating. We're not able to do content curation, meaning find the right file, when I did it, how I use it, what were my sources, so I can create the next one. And it's because we have never trained people to be productive using it. They now use Excel. People use Excel like it was back in that day, and it's raw files, raw columns. But how to do analysis using Excel? No, that's gotta be for someone else. No, we should empower people because that's the beauty about it. You have it, you need to pay it. You don't need to go another 3 years of school. It's how we teach them to do things. So the first important thing is people. Without people, technology is absolutely useless. Even later we can discuss about artificial intelligence, but people is the one making the difference. Another real good example, and I do this with my kids, driving a car. The car is well defined, but depending your skills, your risk, and your tolerance, most likely the attitude and the skills to drive a car, we do a lot of go-karting. So we go to the track and we race, my two kids and myself. And they ask me, how you beat us every single time? I'm older, you're younger, you should be the one taking more risk, but I still beat you. It's because of that. It's the same car, it's the attitude, not necessarily the experience, because I've been driving since they were pretty much little. It's how you go about making the assessment. This is where you are, this is what I have. You test the car a little bit and you push it forward. And then how you apply it and do the rest. People is the main component first.
I love it. In fact, in the model, I have like a big circle and then I have people in the center and then I have
everything comes around.
Because 100%. And I wonder because, one time I was part of a big implementation. We were doing a global implementation for IBP. And we were changing the process and we were changing the tool. And I worked very close to IT in that company and really to go through that. So we needed to go through the same time. We have a whole project plan. With the project plan, we have a change management plan as part of it. And then the whole, due dates and all the, the timeline around when we are going phase 1, phase 2, and so on, because it was global implementation. And we went through all the components of change management to prepare people, communicating, it's coming, that's what you use today, what's going to be tomorrow, why we are doing that, that's the whole strategy of the company, we have this vision, that's why you're going to have this tool, this and that, all these components. I wonder, when you prepare a company to launch a new tool, and as you said, the most important component is people, because the other thing is a tool, and if people don't use the tool, why you have a tool, right? What are the main steps or anything you can tell me that, it was very successful when you implemented a new tool? What did you do that made it successful?
Usually I do a couple of things. You can imagine first, communication. It's important. You need to have a communication strategy, the good and the bad. That's a given. The next thing that I do is split the problem in very small units. The more splits I can have, I have the opportunity to show tangible results. I don't need to wait long periods of time to say, hey, in the next 6 months, this is where we're going to be. No. On the next week, based on the things that we're discussing, these are going to be the tangible things, and you guys are going to start seeing change. If we're going right, awesome. We're going to scale it, we're going to replicate it and scale it. If we're going to go wrong, we're going to go back to the whiteboard, adjust it, and let's go again. So those two things. First, I take the big problem and I split it. And I don't know if you're familiar, for example, with these terms, Agile and Scrum.
Yes, Agile I am. The other one I'm not.
Well, it's part of it. Okay. But the funny thing is, it comes from the technology side, because that's how they code. And funny thing is how you can actually manage an organization. Because at the end of the day, every people, they're moving. They're sentient beings. They got their own minds. They got their own goals, ambitions, and everything. And it's impossible for you to line up the 3,000 people organizations in a week. It takes some time. Now, if I can start with 10, and then making sure those 10 help me be part of the changing, the next 10, 20 becomes like a progression arithmetic, then you can start doing it. So you got the communication, you're splitting, and then, that's funny, because now what I also do is using these communication tools. For the first 10, I tell them and I show them and we document everything that we're doing. Then at the end of the next week, I do communication for the other 90. This is what the 10 are doing. This is what we did good. This is what we did bad. Who wants to be part of the next cycle and be part of the fun? Which brings me, you need to measure everything. Metrics. You have to. And again, everything's going to be changing. It's awesome to hit the metrics, of course, but it's live. Sometimes you're going to overexceed, or you're going to fall short, but you're going to be eventually hitting the mark. And it's tangible in a week. And people love to achieve something. be part of
Yes,
it.
and celebrate the wins. Right?
Exactly. They love it. And that's the purpose. We're humans. So the more all of us are getting into the marks, it starts expanding, becomes viral. So with those kind of things, so you got communications, you got split, you got the goals, you got the extra communication, and of course the metric. With those 5 things, you start moving the ball forward.
Yeah, that's powerful. In fact, you reminded me about the power users that we use when we implemented that tool. We got from different organizations and different regions some power user, which will help to get the tool, to understand the issues of the organization, of the region, or particularities, details that maybe we were not seeing at that point. They will help us to fix, and they will help us to advocate for the tool for the rest. So yes, I think it's a very similar concept you're talking.
I have another beautiful story about this. It was kind of hard to learn it. Power executive. I got my people. I'm able to influence the rest. Since it's come from the top-down view, everyone should line up. And I think you and I can agree, reality shows that, no, it's not the case. It's reality. Usually the people that you need to influence in terms of amount of people, they're most likely going to be 20,000 times full, whatever you are, one person, and whatever group you might have. So the story goes that since I was traveling and my kids were already 4 years old, I wanted to practice sports and I wanted to spend more time with them. So I signed up to be coach to teach soccer to 4-year-old kids.
Oh,
I play soccer, but I was never actually a superstar, and let alone to be a coach. Whenever you can try this, gather 11 kids, 4-year-old kids, and trying to teach them to dribble and play soccer. First of all, everyone comes with their ball, very proud, all dressed up with the ball, and they want to do everything. And you say, perfect, this is how we're going to go right, left, dribble, flank, whatever. Here in America, usually you sign up to this kind of small tournaments. So they give you a team, you train them for a week, and then the next Saturday, they're playing soccer.
Yes, it's crazy. First time I saw that, I was like, I don't understand that. But yeah,
how you teach a 4-year-old kid, 11 kids to share the ball, first of all?
Yeah.
You can't. I mean, they are proud of the ball. And you need to share it and kind of know your whereabouts in the field. And they understand, we got to kick it, we got to score the goal. But it's almost like a corporate. The mission is ready. The vision is ready. We got 1 week to show the minimum common to everyone. And you need to make it fun. So coming Saturday, the kids are happy, the parents are happy. The results can be whatever, but the important thing is they're kind of playing soccer in 1 week. That is exactly the similar challenge that we face in corporate every single time.
Yes.
So my advice for everyone is, as soon as you become manager or you got people working for you, do this kind of exercises. Find kids, teach them something, and then apply back in corporate. You're gonna see some lessons learned over there that no MBA can actually ever give it to you.
Absolutely, I love that. Okay, good. Yes, that's very, and I love it when you said about the 1 week, because when my daughter, I have a 9-year-old, and when she, applied to enroll to be part of the soccer team at school, I was like, okay, she's going to play. And then when I saw literally 1 week after, that's exactly what you said. It was like, okay, that's going to be the first game. It's like, what? She learn anything? Yes, exactly.
It's a perfect example. I mean, that's the other thing that I think also part of the plan is, it's impossible to have perfection at the first attempt. It's not going to happen. That comes with discipline, be consistent, try and error throughout a period of time. So setting the metrics, being realistic, and making sure that, hey, if we're going to fail, that's fine, but let's learn what we failed. What was the difference between the plan and execution? And be honest to yourself and to the team. And the other thing will come about. Yes,
especially when things come so fast, right? And I like to compare, sometimes you can control, sometimes you can't. For example, if it's a change that you're okay, like I'm changing the software, we're going to plan, we have time and always one way. But out of the blue, like you mentioned, AI, right? Okay, it's here. It's here. People started to use, and it's not your decision, AI here. I mean, it is just here. So what do you do and how do you manage that, right? I mean, if you want to share a little bit more about your thoughts around change management AI would be great too.
Okay, so yeah, let's jump into it. Because funny thing is, everyone talks about AI, because it's funny, it's beautiful. There's a lot of money around it. But if you start asking people what really is AI, they don't even understand it. What is real today and what is going to be real in 20 years. We love ChatGPT. It is beautiful. Of course it is. But it's no AI. That's funny, right? Everyone talks that that's AI, and it's not. Really what it is you have a database with tons of data. You got something that really is, for the time being, let's call it AI, which manage all the data as a repository and how to access to it. But really this is funny, these two things, we got the technology and it's been used since the 80s. We're 2024, so what's different is the cost of doing this. The real difference today is that when you go to the prompt, the computer understands you. Your way to ask questions, my way to ask questions without having no knowledge whatsoever, what is in the database or what is in the technology. You and I have no knowledge about the coding. We just talk. And since we have Latin root, we can talk in circles all day long.
Absolutely.
And the computer will understand that culture. Because we're humans, so it's not just people, it's culture. And that layer is called LLM, Language Language Model. And what it does is it understands the culture of the people and translate our questions into whatever they have. So if you notice, everyone talks about teaching the computer to talk to you. Mm-hmm. It's going to take forever. Now, this LLM, this artificial intelligence, what it does is you upload files to it without training them, let's say a PDF or a doc, and immediately will know exactly everything you want asking about. So whenever you can do this, it's a beautiful exercise. Let's keep it with ChatGPT that everyone uses. So go there and ask, who's Camila? It most likely is not going to give you any answer because it's not connected to the internet and it has not been loaded information into it. Now, do like a small text about yourself. And whenever you go to the prompt, says, use this text is my resume. And then you put your text between quotes and the computer will know about you. You can start asking questions. Does Camila know this? Does Camila know that? What are the 3 strengths of Camila? And immediately it will tell you. It's that ability. Now we have to interface with the computer using normal language. That's what is so beautiful about it. And even that's what as last week, talking now to a computer now becomes even easier because the LLM is not just prompt, it's even how we talk to a computer. And it's been working. You remember Alexa and Siri?
Oh, yes.
It's been what, 7 years in the market?
Yes, quite some time.
So they're combining pieces of technology. That technology to talk to a device already existed. Now they add in this component to actually ask questions. So going back to the change management thing it's not different. It's exactly the same now in steroids. What happens now if we give this power to, let's say for example, whenever you got change management, the first thing is you need to prepare documentation. This is what it was. This is where I want to go. These are the procedures. These are the lessons learned. And usually we go sessions to trying to train people 4, 6, 7 months out. And we do a massive training process for education. We sit down people 2 hours. These are the tools. These are the documentation. Go, 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 go. We train, we capture, we measure. Now with this kind of AI, I can upload the full document into the ChatGPT. Similar what I said with your resume. If you want to, at the end, I'll show you to give an example. Literally takes me 30 seconds to upload it. But once it's over there, I start bringing people, ask a question. What are the three things I need to do to do this particular kind of process? And the computer will tell you. It's the incredible assistant. It's the ultimate assistant. The best way to describe it, if you like Marvel and Iron Man, Jarvis. Mm-hmm. You start talking to something they got no knowledge, but at least access to information, and correlates that information, give it back to you so you can make a decision. Change management, artificial intelligence, people asking like to another assistant that has some kind of information or capability, and then we can communicate. That's what I like about artificial intelligence these days for things internally, because it's my assistant to communicate with other people, and even I don't need to go through the full circle. I just need to give them what they need to be efficient, not the whole document, because everyone learns differently, and this will help them to be, for my job, this is what I need. And since now from the back end, the project management office, hey, this document needs to be updated. All I need to update it once. I don't need to share it with everyone else. I don't need to tell everyone else what to change it. The computer will have it. I'll give you another example. Web pages. We love them and we hate them, especially for change management, because it's never updated. And it's so hard to find information that never uses. Okay, cool. We got the IVRs. When you call to the phone and you start going through the menu, 1 week after, it's useless. Doesn't give you the information. We start using bots. We love them, especially the ones in WhatsApp. It's the same as an AVR. Menus, responses, but then here we come humans, especially Latins, and we start shooting questions, and we don't know how to navigate through the menus because they're very static. With this kind of ChatGPT in a file, done. And that facilitates change management.
Oh yes, absolutely. If I think about training and processes and all, it just makes the life much easier. But then let me ask you, in the engagement and how to help people to buy in, to really get into it.
Let's go back a little bit and let's see.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Kindergarten. You got a bunch of kids. You notice that especially at the very beginning, questions and answers, and everyone goes with a hand?
Uh-huh.
Because we're humans. We love to ask. The best way for a human to learn anything is asking, sharing information. Reading helps a lot, of course, but generally what is proven is being part of the social group, asking questions, and see what everyone else is asking is the best way to learn. That's exactly what we need to now tell our people. Given the capacities, given the features to make questions, there are no wrong or bad questions. The computer will tell you, hey, no, that's not right. This is what is right. This is, and it would, because usually what happens is, I want to know about this, and I give you, for example, typical Google, a quick answer, a small answer, very generic, and 200 pages or links to something else. Mm-hmm. LLM and whatever is loading to ChatGPT will summarize everything and says, this is what you're looking for. You want to know more, then you got the links. It's not perfect, but it's the closest thing to a human interaction right now, the Jarvis that I mentioned before. And that's what is important, because it doesn't matter if you're a super nerdy kind of guy that knows how to know whatever is in the computer, or could it be a 70-year-old people who knows to talk to people, and for the practical purpose, they will think they're talking to a person. So learning to asking questions, period. And the other thing is, what questions? Let's go to the basics. What? Why? When? How much? And we can spend days accessing through these kind of LLMs, and I will know a lot of things that would take me like a whole semester somewhere. helping people to be productive, a machine is a tool. It will never replace a human, at least not for the time being. But it will give you superpower to have access, synthesize information, and help you to be ready for the next thing.
100%. Yeah, well, I use a lot of the ChatGPT and other tools. Well, Alexa I use for a long time already. I mean, I love it. Yes, I get you, and I love the perspective you come, because honestly, I work in projects supporting the IT side, but I'm not really an expert on the IT side. I use the tools. I don't really understand how they work, but I love them. So I like to ask you, how do you involve the employees in the change process to increase their engagement and ownership overall?
Doesn't matter what I think or what I do. Doesn't matter what kind of background I bring to the table. I can have the perfect plan, and I can actually execute it 1,000 times in the past. For the particular task, it's not going to be me, it's going to be them. And it goes back to the story of the the kids playing soccer, being 4-year-old toddlers. Mm-hmm. It's my job for the particular week to give them the proper assignment. So I know for a fact that they're not ready. Perfect. So let's train them. Small drills. Let's start building the capacity. But more importantly, let's make sure that they succeed. Because the sooner they start getting tangible results, they are going to feel empowered, because that's what we want. Empowerment, tangible results. The more, the better. Another thing that I do a lot is sports. And one of the things that I love to do these days is out doing mountain biking. Mm-hmm. Well, in Tennessee, I think I got a lot of hills. I don't know if you do biking.
True.
But
I like biking, yeah.
You love to go up into the hill?
Depends on how big is the hill.
Because we're humans, we never do that on a regular basis. We've been taught, because of marketing, that you need to spend $20,000 on a bike to go from the bottom of the way to the up. Knowing how to do it, anyone can do it with whatever kind of bike they might have, under certain circumstances.
Yes.
It's about knowing where you are and who you are and what you have. But at the end of the day, if I'm going to go and invite people to do cycling with me, I want to make sure that all of us start in the bottom and finish on the top. Maybe the first time it's not going to happen, but consistency is going to take you there. None of us want to be world champion on cycling. I just want to go to the hill. That's it. And survive and enjoy it. So that's what I do with the people. Is perfect. This is the plan. The plan is the plan, and it's in a white paper. Now I'm going to make sure my job is to train you to understand as a team where you are today and what kind of roadblocks you're going to have. My job is to take it away. And this is the reason why this particular first week, these are the goals. This is how we're going to train you, and then we're going to start building up. Next week, the bar is going to go higher, but I'm going to train you. What we learn, let's go. It's the only way. Because if I let them, individuals, to access on individuals, just letting, hey, this is the goal, everyone do whatever, it's not going to work. Because as you go by on time per week, you're going to have people who's going to quit. And that's not the goal. Actually, you want these people to bring more people. You want them to become your ambassadors. And the only way to do that is they need to succeed. They need to see, hey, yeah, it is tough, because it's gonna be tough. No one getting out of this comfort zone is not easy. Mm-hmm. But hey, with the proper work, with the proper support, with the proper training, and the proper sacrifices, consistency, and the discipline, yes, it can be done. If I done it, you can do it. and you start building up. And then it goes communication one more time at the end.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And how do you ensure to include employees' feedback during this process? How do you do that to really, this group of people that you want them to succeed, and then they may say, oh, that doesn't work this way, that way, how about this? And how do you adapt, right? Because you hear them, and then you probably need to adapt and keep going. How does that work?
Well, here we're going to be a little bit techie.
Okay, no problem.
And my mathematician hat is going to pop up, so I apologize in advance.
No problem. I love math, so we're good.
So you're familiar with the normal distribution, the curve?
Absolutely, yes.
You got the medium.
Yes.
So with X amount of people, you can expect X amount of people to be in the medium.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to have X amount of people who are the overachievers. And up front, these are going to be the laggers.
Yes.
So 3 complete, well-categorized different groups of people.
Mm-hmm.
To the guys in the middle, they're happy already. I don't need to sell them the idea. They got to wherever they want to go. The question from them is, why they did better than I did? The few.
Yes.
Normal human beings.
Mm-hmm.
So I tell them, hey, what you guys did differently? Don't tell me, tell them. Skills, knowledge, lucky, whatever. Now you got the laggers. If the other ones were able to succeed, there's a reason why they didn't. But I don't need to take the whole universe of people to understand what was wrong. I just focus on the very few.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because it's not to tell them what they did wrong. It's for the next batch of people new, not a group overall, but the next group that is coming about is perfect. If this very few people did something wrong, I'm going to make sure in the training for that week that the next team, they don't have those mistakes or they're prepared to do it. Because again, I'm not going to be able to avoid it. I'm going to have the 3 groups. It's what I learned from it and how I be prepared the next time around.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting because I was looking the other day about the diffusion law, and that's exactly, you have the distribution curve and all, and then basically statistically they say like 13.5% of the total population will be overall, and this is about resistance to change, which is very similar concept what you're talking, right? So then you focus on that group and it will help them to break that resistance and all. Yes, I like that. And by the way, how do you work when this small group is very resistant to change? How do you manage that?
Different techniques because of the groups, right? But I think you and I are going to agree. The common trait, right, at the very beginning is frustration. Mm-hmm. Because no one likes to fail, let alone in a group. Let alone if it is a high visible project. I'm the one who failed? Are you kidding me? It's not my fault, it's the coach's fault. Mm-hmm. But however, you got the numbers to say no, it's the very few, you kind of know it. So if the best thing for a frustrated person is bend it off. So the dynamic to just work with them is completely different than the other ones. They need to release that frustration. And typical, right? We've seen it in movies. Gather the few, go to a closed room, let's have it out. It's very few. The good about that, they got the share, and they understand each other. Which usually in a large group is the most complicated thing. Selling the vision. In this case, the vision that I fail, it's coming. So it's perfect. We fail. The other guys did right. What will happen over here? Bend it off. Hey, were you overworked? I didn't give you the tools. Maybe it happens. You're not ready. You didn't have the time. Let's do it. It's being part of it. Even as a group, of course, depends on the size. Let's say it's 10 people. It can be actually personal. I can spend the personal time 1, 2, 3 other times and stuck through it. That's the best opportunity for them to tell you, you to tell them, and of course you got the rest of the sample to say, look, I'm not saying that those guys are better than you. This is maybe what they eat differently. It's a more controlled environment to actually manage in a crisis mode. And even you can go to the extreme because it's an extreme frustration.
Yes.
Here in the States we have it, and it's a shame that we don't have it in Latin America. Couple examples is team building exercises. And it's a small competition, whoever loses, so they can actually feel they can win. The other one that I like the most, and I'm trying to see if I can turn it into a freaking business, a room with all these kind of old devices, baseball bats, hammer it out. Get in, put the goggles, put some safety devices, go destroy. Because that's going to help them to release the frustration and vent off. Because we're humans, we need it. Hey, crazy me.
How do you see, sorry, you're saying something.
No, crazy me, crazy ideas, mine. I put in practice.
Yeah, I just love them, yeah. How do you see the leaders playing the role, like the supervisors, the direct leaders of the team? How do you see the leadership playing a role during change management for a successful change?
People say that the sooner they're engaged, the better the project's going to be. It is true. It's the way that they need to participate. When you're going through change, there are going to be mistakes because it's a change. No one wants to fail in front of the boss. It's my boss. I don't want him to see me failing. But he should be part on a weekly basis to recognize the efforts. Hey, we knew. The part of the communication, the good and the bad, that's their role there. When the team is building up and you go through the process, you're already having 2-3 months into it, they should be part of the exercise too. So everyone can see when you start reaching critical mass. Yes, it's important. He's doing it. We are trained. Now we can actually get it done. Hey, if I can beat my boss, maybe that's a good thing too. But when the time comes right, at the very beginning, I would say no. When you reach critical mass, definitely have to. But every single week, they are the one inspiring the people. They're the bosses, and of course, they know how to drive the vision and how to communicate with them. Maybe they don't know experts to be this kind of media communication. Perfect. It's a perfect opportunity to do change management of them, because the good thing that's going to happen is it's going to improve the level of communication with the rest of the teams. So it's a mix. It's when and how they need to be part of it.
Yes. Yeah, and really make sure that they empower the team, right? And celebrate the successes, all of that. Yes. And how would you ensure the changes you implement are sustainable in the long term?
First, everyone needs to remember, change is constant. There is no finish line. It's only a milestone. Once we reach the milestone, the organization and then the leaders, here's the next challenge.
Yes, more coming.
It's the only thing. If we don't do that, there's no culture, there's no organization. It's just a task. And that's valid. But in a company, it's every single time moving. You have to. Not just because it's a constant and it's cultural. If you don't grow your business X amount on sales year over year, you're losing money. And I need to make sure everyone understands that. Being flat is not good. I prefer even to lose, because that will actually check up everyone. But not growing on a sustainable basis, building new products, working after new markets, making alliances, asking for help so I can grow my top line, that's the best way to die. If we're reaching it today, we got this kind of margin, good, bad, or whatever. If I don't ensure that the next year is better, it's bad. If my competitor is using whatever and is taking an advantage and I don't follow, it is bad. So change needs to come with some kind of level of competition with ourselves and with the company next door. But more importantly, it's in America, it's more clear. So I want to make sure, if you're in business, you're in a war, meaning there are going to be casualties. Mm-hmm. Either it's going to be you, or if you want to, let's make sure the enemy is the one. Because whatever I don't do, if I fail as a person within my company, my peers are going to suffer. And I don't want the person who I spend 8 hours a day to suffer because of what I did, or actually in this case, I did not do. Mm-hmm. That's part of the culture that now we need to reemphasize, especially here and everywhere, in every kind of company. It's a war. All of us are in the same boat, and everyone contributes for the benefit of the overall. The sooner we understand that one, and going back to the change that is constant, it's only going to be the next challenge, the next challenge, the next challenge. That should help us to move forward. It's not rhetorical. I've seen it happening. It's hard to implement across the organization. I get that. But that's even the reason why, on purpose, the leaders need to design a particular small team with the most diverse kind of roles that they may have, so they can show that the rest of the organization can be done. They already did it. Now it's our job to understand how they did it and start executing. Worst case scenario, everyone is going to develop new skills. It's going to raise the bar for everyone. If all of us can go up, incredible. But at least everyone learn something they can use here, or they can actually become the next leaders in the next organization. And that's what I think is important.
I agree with you. And, reminds me about one of the things that I love communicating when there is change is to communicate the risks of not changing. Right? Because, why change? Oh, why are we changing? Well, if we don't change, look what's going to happen, most likely. Right? So it's the flat is really where you don't want to be as an organization. So it's a good way also to get buy-in from people. It's I better keep going and foster this culture that supports continuous improvement, right? Absolutely. Wow. I love everything that we are talking here. And do you have any other comments, suggestions, or anything that you think I didn't ask or you didn't say that is very important when you think about managing changes in organizations?
Time. Time is of the essence. Time is of urgency. And when we're in a community, we're humans. We love to procrastinate. However, in a war, when you're in a competitive war, you cannot afford to do that. Because most likely your competitor is going to do it, and we know exactly whether it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. Even that's important to have tangible results, maybe not weekly, but in a very decent matter, because it shows everything. I told you I love sports. One of my favorite things that I love to watch are the pit stops in Formula One.
Oh, I love it too. Oh my, they're so good.
20 people.
It's crazy.
Yeah, 20 people, 2.5 seconds, 4 tires, and the car is out. That requires so much organizational levels, because it's a race, so it's competitive. But more importantly, if they fail, the race is gone. Happens the same on the company. We cannot stop the company just to fix everything. We need to change the wheels while we're still running. And we need to learn how to do it. Maybe not everyone at the very beginning, but the selected few, then the rest comes along, because we need to go forward. So time is the most important thing. There's always time, and literally, we're always behind. That creates a sense of urgency for everything else to actually become important, to matter. Mm-hmm. Today, with the technology, everything is moving so fast. Because while people thinking, hey, yeah, we're going to use AI as a part of the strategy, everyone else is doing it. Doesn't matter if they do it right, wrong, or whatever, they're learning. If we're not doing it, we're doing something wrong. Along the lines, I don't need to know the know-it-all company or the know-it-all guy. Because if there's so many people doing it and learning, let's hire them to teach us. Going back to the time. Because the better we help everyone to move, I can get faster, better, and I try to accomplish whatever goals I have using the new technology. Because that's another thing that I noticed. Let's learn. Let's start building everything from scratch. Let's reinvent the wheel. Why? It's time. Not just money, it's time. If I can do it in a week or 6 months, there is a big difference. Let's take advantage of it. Now, the other thing is what is real and what is not. The example of the AI again, right? This is what it is today. I don't care what's going to be in 10 years from now. I don't want to be the next NVIDIA. Good for them. They're making tons of money. Microsoft, Meta, whatever. It's awesome. They're building the highway where I'm going to be there maybe next year. Awesome. I need to understand is I'm going to require my team is what they are doing today that I can use with what I have and how I can move forward. Because everyone else is doing it. So let's make sure we understand. And then as an organization is budget. One of the things that I've been actually asking a lot is everyone is doing AI. Okay, cool. How much are you spending on it? As a percentage of the total sales of the company? Because if you want to do that exercise yourself, hey, your company is a $100,000 company. Okay, cool. How much are you spending in AI? And you're going to laugh about the results. Because now I'm doing it. Awesome. Are you spending $1, $100, or $50,000 out of the 100? And you're going to see how it varies. So if you need to spend money to move forward. All of us know that in business. So make sure to spend the right amount of money to get the proper results. Because since now you're being professional about it, you're going to put the mentality of professional to make sure success. And it goes back to the vision, and you're going to need to make sure that everyone is aligned to do it. It's not just about a pet project and say, yeah, I do it as well. No, I'm going to do it and I'm going to do it right. And everyone's going to go march this way. So those kind of things.
Yes. Well said. Wow. Thank you. That was amazing. I love your perspectives on everything. And and how important change management is for the digital transformation and everything. As I said, I'm not an IT person. I partner with IT, and I always learn a lot about the technologies and all, and how to put together the change management efforts and the IT efforts. So, yes, it was amazing.
My pleasure. So, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yes. Well, thank you again for your time. I really appreciate. I hope we can connect more times, and I'll let you know about the book. And yes, again, thank you so much. And anything you need from my side, I'll be happy to help as well.
Thank you so much. And yes, I'll keep you in my close loop of friends. I'll do that.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Huh?